Let me say this clearly. A man who plays games at 22, he's immature. A man who plays games at 42, he's choosing to be dysfunction. Today, I want to talk about why men still play games in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. In the news, before the holiday, we saw two coaches lose millions of dollars as it relates to basically cheating and engaging in inappropriate behavior. And at first, I wasn't going to say anything. But I was at my son's Christmas party. That's where I was. Christmas presentation. And I'm standing there in line, and there's a gentleman behind me. And he got a phone call, and he's like, I'm at my grandson's Christmas gathering. And he keeps talking, and I hear him say, well, since you want to have this conversation now, who are you to ask me about such and such? So then, I had to scoot back, because stand behind me. I had to scoot back a little bit so I could hear what he was saying. So apparently the scoop is, and guess what, since he was talking out loud in the public, I can tell you, okay, because we gonna keep it a secret. So apparently he there's multiple women that he's dating, and now he said he's at his grandson's thing, okay? So he had his grandson's presentation, and a woman is calling you, asking you about another woman. And she told him that she wasn't going to some event, and he was like, who are you to tell me that you're not gonna go with me? I was like, how is you a grandpa engaging in this behavior? Now, I've come up with a few things as to why these men are essentially in arrested development. And I want us to have an honest conversation about this, because I'm tired of you guys and myself meeting these men who, by all intents and purposes, are supposed to be grown men, but they're playing games. They're not serious about women. They're not serious about marriage. They're not serious about relationships. The only thing they're serious about is being selfish and getting their needs and their wants met. All right. So listen, I know you're confused because society told you, we've seen the player grow up and then he eventually settles down. We've seen that. And so it can be very confusing when you meet a man, because he will do everything that it relates to being in a relationship, but he has toxic and unhealthy patterns. Okay. I want you to know that time doesn't mature a man. Purpose does, healing does, and accountability does. So let's talk about why some men stay stuck in boyhood decades into adulthood. All right. So number one, he doesn't understand his purpose. Now, this is the thing. Let me tell you the truth. I don't care what this man is doing. I don't care if he's a football coach. I don't care if he's a minister. I don't care if he's a pastor. You'll look at him and think he's being purposeful, but this man doesn't understand his purpose, okay? A man without purpose will play with people. Most importantly, he will play with women. Purpose gives a man direction, restraint, and vision. Let's go back to that second word, restraint. So a man who is purposeful, he is disciplined. He is restrained. He knows, listen, even though my flesh, my body is telling me yes. My mind is telling me no. Listen, he knows that he has to live his life a certain way. So he has restraint. Okay? Without it, a man without knowing his purpose, he is chasing stimulation, sex, attention, validation, ego boost. I remember, what is it, Mr. Grandpa, Mr. Steal Your Grandma, and how they done got together to, are they beautiful men? Yes. Are they handsome men? Yes. Are some of them married? Yes. But also we have to know this also strokes their ego. There's a young lady who asked me to do a video about a man and his female friends. It's about ego. Go ahead and tell you, I could do the video, but it's about ego. Those women serve a specific purpose to feed his ego, to make him feel good about himself. Right? And when a man lacks purpose, relationships become entertainment instead of responsibility. This is why he's inconsistent. This is why he doesn't know what he wants. Why is it that Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is talking to Shannon Sharp, who is almost 60 years old, about why he hasn't been married? And why is it that some men have drunk this high value Kool-Aid? That you 40, 50, 60, and you still haven't gotten married. Now, if marriage is not for you, that's cool. But leave women alone. Don't be lying, scheming, plotting, and planning Just say, you know, marriage isn't for me. I'm going to tap out. But many men aren't going to do that for the reasons I'm going to describe. That's why they waste a woman's time. A purposeless man is dangerous to emotionally invest in because he don't have no restraint. He doesn't have any discipline. And I don't care, like Shannon Sharp goes to the gym and he works out. But yeah, he has discipline in football, discipline in his body, discipline in business, but he ain't got no discipline as it relates to women. He doesn't want to be emotionally invested. So that's why he engages in transactional relationships. And some of you have met a man and he just engages in transaction. You know why he engages in a transactional relationship? Is because he doesn't want to be emotionally invested. I'm going to talk about that later. All right. Number 2, the reason why these men act the way they do while you still playing games in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. And if you a hit dog, just say ouch. Don't come in here as a man. Think you're going to talk me sideways. Don't block you. He nurtures the fool instead of the king. Listen, every man has 2 selves. He has a fool and he has a king. The fool is his impulse, his ego, his appetite, but the king is his discipline, his leadership, and his wisdom. I love the story of Abigail in the Bible. And the reason why I love it is because she spoke to the king and David. She didn't speak in the fool because David was about to do some things. And Abigail said, listen, we heard of you. We know your exploits. We know how you you're to be the next king. We know what you've done to Goliath. And David said to her, thank you for reminding me of who I am, because David was about to act a fool. Men who play games feed the fool. They protect their childish freedom, but avoid responsibility. They want the benefits of the woman without the burden of stewardship, responsibility, and accountability. See, a man understands that he has to be responsible for you. That's why you drop your father's name and you pick up his name, because he's supposed to be responsible for you. But see, a fool just wants to play with you. He don't want the responsibility of you. He don't want to have to steward you. He don't want to have to nurture you. He doesn't want to have to pour into you. He don't want to have to love you as Christ loved the church, that he gave his life. He don't want to have to get along with you as it relates to knowledge and understanding. Oh yeah, oh yeah. He don't want to have to do that. Listen, the king builds. There's a whole lot of men talk about they want legacy, but guess what? They're not showing up as a king. Oh, I want legacy. You know, I'm trying to. You ain't trying to do nothing. Not a thing. A fool consumes. And many men never transition. Listen, the Bible says when I was a child, I spoke as a child. Why does man still being childish at 30? And I'm going to say this, because people are like, men develop slower than women. No, we live in a society that allows men to play games. We raise our baby girls to cook, clean. You give her a baby doll. Oh, you such a good mama. You get her a little kitchen set. Meanwhile, you raise that boy. He got every video game there is out there. He got football, basketball, hockey, everything. He is raised to play. She is raised to nurture, to be submissive in her play. And then they 30, 40, 50 years old, and it still hasn't gotten to them like, maybe I shouldn't be treating women this way. Maybe I shouldn't be showing up this way. This woman deserves to be loved. She deserves to be nurtured. And if I can't give it to her, I should move around. Number 3, he only learned his value through providing, right? Many men were taught your worth is in your money. So he never developed emotional intelligence, relational depth, moral leadership. So that's why you got men who think, oh, I got all this money, so I can treat you any kind of way. Homeboy in the dark was telling him, if you got money, you know, he should be able to cheat. Why? Why having income, a substantial income? Why does that equal that you should cheat? Why does that equal that you should be dishonest? Why does that equal that you should have no moral compass? Why does that equal that? Okay. When provision is all he has, he uses it as leverage instead of love. This is the man who thinks I pay so I don't have to show up emotionally. And when you ask for more, he says you're too demanding. I don't know any woman. Now I hear it online like, would you rather cry in a Mercedes versus crying in a Mazda? Listen, I don't want to cry at all. And you shouldn't want to cry either. And just because that man makes a certain amount of money doesn't give him the right to mistreat you. And why some men have picked this up, I don't understand. I don't understand at all. But I want to tell you this, that a man who believes that his only being is to provide financially is not a man who you want to be with. He should understand that his provision is not just financial, but it's spiritual, because he's the head, if you believe that, right? It's emotional. He should be a servant leader. He should be a problem solver. It shouldn't be, oh, I pay the cost to be the boss so I can do whatever I want to do because I pay. No. Your money don't give you the right to trample on somebody. And that's also a sign of being insecure. You feel like your worth, some men like this, their worth is tied into how much money they make, not who they are. All right. Number 4, he never learned the value of women outside of sexual access. That's why we keep seeing these men fall, because they don't understand the value of woman. And it's even it don't only have to be, men that make large amounts of money. It could even be men, you know how to cook, you know how to clean. The Bible says a man that finds a wife obtains favor, not that he attains a pork chop. There are many men who don't even know how to use the favor that God has given them. Listen, as relates to he doesn't value women outside of sexual access, and you need to be mindful if this man is lustful too. This one is uncomfortable but necessary. Many men are socialized to see women as conquest. They see women as conquest, and then years later, they'll brag to their sons and nephews and other men about how they had this woman and had this one, but they don't talk about the heartache and the heartbreak that they caused these women. They don't talk about how their daughters and how their nieces and how their sisters have suffered at the hands of men. I remember telling the man, men need to hold men accountable. Men need to hold men accountable. Why is it that your boy is cheating on his wife? You know that he got a good wife, and you just, okay, oh, that's you, okay. How do you allow that? Listen. So they socialize and views women as conquest, as validation. So that's why that's why when he takes you to the family function, the nephew and the uncles are, all right, nephew, I see you, nephew. And you, no, what you saying, sir? He should be using you for his validation, for his ego and sexual relief. Not as whole humans with emotional and spiritual needs. That's who you are. You're not just supposed to be his sex toy. So he dates you, benefits from you, and still withholds commitment because in his mind, access doesn't require honor. A man who doesn't value women will always play games with them. You asked about his past relationship, he could tell you everything those women did wrong. Meanwhile, he didn't tell you the games that he played. He's, I got a restraining order on that one keep my car, that one don't let me see my kids, that one don't do it. So, whoa. So all these women did all this to you. What did you do? It probably was he didn't show up and he didn't honor them because he wasn't taught to honor and respect women. He was taught to use women for whatever it was he wanted and by any means. So if he had to lie, if he had to manipulate, whatever he had to, if he had to spend money, whatever he had to do in order to get what he wanted because it was transactional, he doesn't value women. Number 5, he lacks emotional and spiritual vulnerability. Game playing is emotional avoidance. If he can't reflect, repent, self-correct, be accountable, he will manipulate instead. A man who cannot be vulnerable cannot be safe. And also, I believe a man who doesn't have any accountability can't be safe. And you need to ask him, who holds you accountable in your life? And you need to see and pay attention if he listens to them. Or they tell him what's right. Oh, okay, all right. But he still does what he wants to do. We're not dating no renegades. No, you need to have accountability. Who can check you, sir? Whose wise counsel do you listen to? A man who is not spiritually grounded has no internal compass to guide his behavior. Listen, I've heard many men, especially men who are, I'm going to say, healthy Christian men, talk about leaning on God and how that has helped them in their romantic relationship. Listen, let's be honest, right? We all fall into temptation, but the Bible says he gives us a way of escape. Okay? A man who is spiritually vulnerable listens to God. He hears him and he follows what he says. And he's not, and there's a lot of men that use the Bible and any other religious text as a way of manipulation. This man doesn't do that. Okay? A healthy man, let me say, a healthy man doesn't do that. This man right here that's playing games, yeah, he gonna do that. That's why he 50 talking to you, talking about something you need to submit to him. Meanwhile, he also said he don't want to get married. No. Number 6, he hasn't done his healing work. Unhealed men date for distraction. Now, his healing work could have been something that happened in his childhood, because men have trauma too. He could be a combat veteran. Could have had something happen in his neighborhood, whatever. There are things that may have happened. But the things that happen are not an excuse for him to show up the way he's showing up, and it's not an excuse for you to tolerate his bad behavior. You know, he went through this and then he went through this and da-da-da. And I just think that, you can't love him outside of that through the avoidance. You can't love him to the place where he shows up differently for you. I'm sorry. He has to want to do that for himself. And if he's not showing up as the man that you need today, go. Yeah, he has trauma, but he hasn't done his work. He ain't seen no therapist. He ain't seen no coach. These men use women to numb pain, to regulate their emotions, to soothe childhood wounds. He using you as neosporin. Just to make the pain feel better, just to take the edge off. Instead of healing, they cycle women. You're trying to figure out how he went from this woman to this woman to this woman to this woman, then to this. Yeah, because he using women to heal. But he's not healing. So when it gets tight over here, he goes against another one. When it gets tight over there, he goes against another one. When it gets tight over there, he goes against another one. And in our society, as women, we got to take accountability for this. We will see a man go from that woman, and then it's our turn. And we don't question, okay, whoa, wait a minute. This not making sense. How come you your age and you've been married twice? How come you keep creating broken homes? How come you take no accountability for what happened? If I talked to her, would she tell me the same story you told me? Listen, I want you to know that age doesn't heal trauma. Time doesn't heal trauma. Like they say, time heals all wounds. It's a lie. Intention does. And this man is not intentional about healing because he's using you as a human teddy bear. As long as he can lay in between your legs and your thighs. Oh my. That man ain't got, he's not going to. And when you don't give it to him, he's going to go to somewhere else. And sometimes the reason why we accept this poor and negative behavior and treatment is because we don't want to deal with the pain of being alone. You're going to have to choose your heart. You're going to have to choose what hurts. The hurt of being with him, knowing that this is an unhealthy man, or the hurt of moving and doing your healing work. Number 7. He doesn't love or respect God. Listen, some of these men are playing with fire. I remember doing a video, I think it's 5 ways to know you're a placeholder. And in that video, I was talking about how, like, there are men that are going to reap what they sow, playing with God's daughters. And there was a young lady who said, I don't think that they do. And I told her, listen, you may not see it. You may not never know about it. But they're going to reap what they sow. And I think these men that play with women all these decades, they don't fear God. But one day their number is going to be pulled and you may not know about it. This man doesn't reverence God and he only answers to himself. So he's an idol in his own life. No fear of consequence, no submission to the truth, no moral authority over his desires. Listen, just because, and that's something we have to talk about. Yes, you have desires. Yes, this man has desires. But there has to be a sense of morality. When you get to a certain age, when you get to 30s, in your 20s, this is what I think. I think many men don't live a responsible life because they're not taught to be responsible. Okay? And I think that's a failure of society, that men should be taught to be responsible. Women are taught to be responsible, but men aren't. So a lot of men waste their 20s, waste their 30s, and they're like, okay, I'm ready to settle down. No, it shouldn't be that you're ready to settle down. You're not settling into anything. You're about to grow and establish and nurture the greatest gift that you can, a wife and children. But I really believe that many men lack having a moral authority over their desires, realizing, listen, I shouldn't be out here using these women as human teddy bears. I shouldn't be out here manipulating women, taking advantage of women. I shouldn't be out here lying to women. I shouldn't be out here promising a future to women that I know I'm not going to truly give to her. I should not do that to her. How do you go to sleep at night knowing that you a liar and you a deceiver and you are leading women on? I know why, because society doesn't condemn it. You don't think it hurts anything. And what happens that a woman don't get hurt, she'll go on about her way. That man gets the opportunity to do another. So he learns that there's no true consequence to this until the Lord gets him. So the Lord gets him. And when a man is his own God, his appetite rule him. And this is why self-control matters. But guess what? His appetite can only rule him for so long, because he's going to reap what he sows. You can't be out here planting seeds of hurt, of heartbreak, and think that your life is going to be well. You can't do that. You can't not only hurt and heartbreak of you as a woman, but hurt and heartbreak as it relates to your children. No, sir. No. You're going to have to pay for that. All right. And number 8, this is my final one. He lacks self-control. Self-control is maturity. If he cannot govern his lust, his ego, his attention, his impulses, he will never govern a relationship. And you cannot love a man into discipline. This is why when a man sees a woman and he has no self-control, this is what you saw up there in Michigan. You just burned the whole thing down. Your family, your children, $30 million. Why? Because you lack self-control. Because you allowed your ego, you allowed your desire, you allowed that to be out of control. Now, are men going to see beautiful women? Absolutely. But when you have morality over your desires, then you can see a beautiful woman. You can acknowledge that she's beautiful, but you ain't got to sleep with her. You don't have to pursue her. And see, the problem with these men is that they have glamorized being able to sleep with multiple women, having access to multiple women, and they don't understand how this impacts them in the long run. And that's why there's many men in the nursing home reflecting on their life saying, I should have married that one, or I could have married that one, or I could have married that one. Or they try to figure out why their children don't come around, because you broke their mother's hearts. Listen, I want you to, and I don't know how, well, I do. In my metrics, I see that many women that watch my videos are between the ages of 34 and like 60. I do have some nieces, right? But I'm going to say this. If you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, and this man is engaging in any of the things that I said, you need to move around. Especially if he doesn't have a plan and he can't articulate to you how he plans to address it. Move around. Stop wasting your time on men who are still playing games. And like the Bible says, he give us 70 plus 10. You 50 years old, you still playing games? The Lord about to take you out of here. Come on now. Come on, let's speak the truth. The Lord is about to take you out of here. You 30, I'm 37. You 37 years old, you still want to play. No. Go on about your business. So as a woman, you have to make a decision. He 30, he 40, he 50, he still want to play. Listen, there's another man. There's another man. Oh, Cynthia, everybody got something. They do. But you get to choose what is the something that you want to deal with. And you don't have to deal with this. Okay? This is Heal the New Sexy. My name is Cynthia. Until we talk again.